Good morning. I should be saying this in a Scottish accent. Traditionally, Scottish border fishermen raise their hats and greet any heron sharing their fishing grounds. It's a mark of respect. I've always felt that seeing a grey heron is rather special. Sometimes just a speck in the distance, very still, elegant, a bit mysterious. I knew almost nothing about them, and I was curious, so I embarked on a little study. This film is about what I discovered. As well as respecting herons, fishermen were envious of them. Some used to believe that herons' feet give off special oil, which is irresistible to fish. The truth is that they're just very, very patient, and they have wonderful eyesight. In fact, their eyesight's so good that sometimes they fish at night. This led to another myth, that they scatter phosphorescent powder on the water to light up their prey in the dark. There's no truth in this. They do have special feathers which disintegrate and produce powder, but that powder's not phosphorescent. It's used to help clean off fishy mess from feathers and plumes. Surprisingly, despite being so tall, a heron only weighs about as much as a chicken. Of course I knew that herons eat fish, but I've discovered that they'll eat almost any meat they can get hold of. They love frogs and eels, and even worms. They can be seen searching for voles in the fields. In the spring, when fish are scarce, they'll eat baby ducklings. Fish is their main food, and they're not fussy about where they get it. Mostly they feed alone and defend their territories. But if there's plenty of food, you might be lucky enough to see a group of herons. A collection like this is known as a sedge or a siege of herons. A good place to see a sedge of herons is Muncaster Castle in the Lake District, where they feed the herons every day. They first started feeding them when they returned some injured herons into the wild. The herons kept coming back and stealing food from the owlry, so to stop that they began to feed them. Soon all the herons in the area learnt about this, and now Muncaster Castle provides an important supplement to the diet of about 20 to 30 herons. I haven't managed to learn how to distinguish a male from a female yet, because the differences are very slight, but I can spot a young heron. I've learnt that only a mature bird has these striking black markings on each shoulder. They're known as epaulettes. I've often seen cormorants stretching their wings and hanging them out to dry, but I had no idea that herons do exactly the same thing. And this one's standing on one leg. Why do they do that? Well, scientists know that some birds, such as flamingos, stand on one leg to conserve warmth, but it's clear that herons also stand on one leg even when there's no need to conserve heat. Just why they do that remains a mystery. The top of their legs turns pinkish in the breeding season. I call them legs, but if those are legs, it looks as if the knees are working backwards. I wouldn't exactly describe this as kneeling. Well, they are legs, but what I think of as knees are actually something more like ankles. The heron has very short, hidden thighs and knees, so what looks like a heron's knee is more like an ankle. It's as if the heron's walking on its toes. Early in the year, herons congregate in well-protected heronries high up in the trees. Each male selects a nest and stands guard on it. They wait for a suitable female, and once they've paired, they remain monogamous for that season. They work together to build or refurbish the nest. Generally the male brings sticks and the female arranges them on the nest. Majestic and elegant though they are on the fishing grounds, they can look quite awkward on the nest. Mating requires some acrobatic skills. Watch how they're both using their wings for balance, and he's hanging onto her neck to steady himself. This may look tranquil, but that wooded island is teeming with hungry heron chicks. That clacking sound is chicks calling for food. I've seen other birds pop food into their babies' mouths, but it's not like that with herons. I'm struck by how violent the feeding process is. The young look as if they're almost attacking their parents. And the battle for food is so intense that it can lead to bullying. Perhaps all this desperation for food isn't surprising, as the chicks grow at an astonishing rate. From the size of a chicken's egg to almost full grown in about 8 weeks. When they're about 5 or 6 weeks old, they venture out along the branches. At this stage, they're called branchers. In medieval times, branchers were popular banquet food. They would be hooked off the branches with long poles and fattened up. Apparently, to the modern palate, they don't taste very nice, a bit too fishy. These youngsters will be able to fly at about 8 weeks old and will finally leave the nest soon after that. Then they'll have to learn how to stand very still and catch fish.